the symbol of eternal illumination with a radiant light, a sign interpreted as a connection to worlds beyond the material realm. A symbol that, in modern beliefs, is attributed to the sun, but also represents the Prince of Darkness. In most religious depictions, regardless of the artist's faith, belief, or tradition, one common element stands out. Many spiritual figures are portrayed with a halo of light around their heads. Figures like Christ, Moses, Zoroaster, Buddha, Muhammad, and even Helios from Greek mythology are shown with this symbol. In more modern depictions, the full circle of the halo has sometimes been simplified into a line or ring. Additionally, some depictions show rays of light emanating from the figure, or, as in Islamic art, fiery representations of the halo. In ancient texts, halos are often described as radiant and luminous, typically associated with spiritual power, and attributed to those who are considered divine emissaries or sent by gods. For example, in Homer's Iliad, when Achilles prepares to battle Hector, Athena creates a golden cloud around Achilles' head, from which flames rise. Athene flung her tasselled aegis round his strong shoulders, and she circled his head with a golden cloud, from which she kindled a glow of gleaming fire. In more contemporary religious texts, such as the Bible, the story of Moses descending from Mount Sinai in Exodus describes his face as shining so brightly that Aaron and the Israelites were afraid to approach him. Looking further back, ancient Egyptian depictions of Ra, the sun god, often show him with a circular disc above his head. If you've followed our previous videos about Mithra, you might not be surprised to learn that the earliest depictions of a halo around a figure's head are found in works associated with Mithra. Mithra, the sun god in ancient Persian beliefs, is often portrayed with radiating light around his head, symbolising the brilliance of the sun. These depictions gradually spread to neighbouring regions, primarily because Mithra appeared on ancient Persian coins. Moreover, the halo was also used in portrayals of Persian kings, who were considered representatives of Mithra, or under his divine protection. As the Mithric tradition spread, particularly into Europe, the halo became increasingly common as a symbol of spiritual importance. It's even said that Constantine, despite making Christianity the official religion of his empire, was deeply fascinated by Mithraic depictions with halos, and believed the halo endowed its bearer with supernatural power. Consequently, halos began appearing in representations of Constantine himself and his successors, extending their use beyond purely spiritual figures. If you've seen our recent video exploring this book, you're likely familiar with David Talbott's views on ancient beliefs about the sun god. According to Talbott, the ancient civilisations did not perceive the central star of our solar system as the sun, but instead recognised Saturn as the symbol of the sun. This does not mean that the present-day sun did not exist in the sky, but rather that for the people of ancient times, it held little significance. Instead, they referred to Saturn as the sun. Consequently, in ancient texts, the sun god is associated with Saturn. Descriptions of the sun god in many ancient writings portray it as stationary, unlike the current sun, which rises and sets. Talbott argues that this description aligns with Saturn, which appeared fixed in the northern sky, seemingly with all other celestial bodies revolving around it. This Jastro's work, Sun and Saturn, offers additional examples from ancient texts, highlighting how the identity of the sun god overlaps with Saturn. Saturn itself is often referred to as the star of the sun. In this interpretation, many symbols traditionally associated with the sun, such as the circular disk, are in fact linked to Saturn. The circle surrounding these symbols represents Saturn's rings. In creation myths, Saturn, as the creator god, emerges in the heavens surrounded by a cosmic sea. This sea forms a belt or shield around the celestial sun. For instance, Egyptian creation myths describe how the creator god rose from the cosmic ocean, surrounded by a vast ring, forming the primal space of creation. This space, where creation began, was often referred to as the Island of Fire, a central point in the cosmic sea, the dwelling place of the creator god and the original sun. The island of Hetep in Egyptian myth aligns with similar concepts in other ancient traditions. Japanese mythology mentions a floating island in the celestial sea called Onogoro. In Hindu myths, the land of Tapan, associated with Surya, the sun god, is referenced as a sacred space. Similarly, Hindu ancient texts speak of Shweta Dwipa, or the White Island, described as a realm of purity, light, and divine beings, a mystical place associated with goodness and removed from worldly darkness. Modern interpretations sometimes associate this with the North Pole, which Talbott connects to Saturn. Greek and Roman myths also mention a legendary northern island called Thula, described as the dwelling place of gods or supernatural beings. Greek mythology recounts Poseidon creating the floating island of Delos, the birthplace of Apollo, the god of the sun and light. Hyperborea is another mythical land in the north, where its inhabitants live in eternal peace. Associated with Apollo, the sun god, it was believed he would visit this land annually and reside there for months. These sun god-associated lands, situated in the cosmic ocean, align with the imagery of a central point in the cosmos surrounded by a sea, a visual metaphor for the divine ring. This ring later evolved into the radiant halo depicted around spiritual figures' heads. According to Talbott, it reflects Saturn's rings, with those portrayed with this halo seen as representatives of the ancient sun god, Saturn. In his studies, Talbott suggests that ancient civilisations had such knowledge of Saturn because it was once close enough to Earth that its rings were easily visible. For example, the Maori people of New Zealand refer to Saturn as Parearau, meaning circle or ring. Similarly, the Dogon people of Africa incorporated Saturn's rings into their art. While some interpret this as evidence of extraterrestrial contact, Talbott believes it reflects Saturn's former proximity to Earth. Saturn, as a symbol of cosmic power, significantly influenced life and belief systems around the world. The planet, associated with order, time, and natural cycles, represented both light and a boundary with darkness. It is often linked in astrology with challenges, restrictions, and responsibilities, as well as feelings like despair or fear. This interpretation aligns with ancient Indian and Persian beliefs about the cosmic journey of the soul. In these traditions, Saturn was considered the final planetary obstacle the soul had to pass to reach the eternal realm of light. Thus, Saturn became symbolic of the greatest challenge on the spiritual path, associated with darkness and life's hardships. In traditional astrology, Saturn is called the Prince of Darkness, a stark contrast to its ancient title as the sun god.